So there are many things that are happening in our world today, in our communities, and even in response to COVID that impact the overall stress and anxiety that young kids have. And I think that as parents, we really need to first think about how much exposure kids have to the news, to this information, right? We don't want to make sure that we don't want them to have news playing 24 hours a day in the background. It can be background noise to us, but it's certainly something that they're paying attention to. We also want to think about the conversations that we're having in our cars, in and around our dinner tables and lunch tables, and all those conversations that we're having, whether that stress be, like I said, COVID or a community event or a national event, something that is scary that's happening in our communities. It's okay to talk with our kids about those issues, but I always think about having them lead that conversation. What do you want to know more about COVID? What do you want to think about, or what are you wondering about, so that we can take their lead? Because many times they might just be wondering about something small, or maybe only know a little bit and only want to know a little bit more. And then if we take the lead on that, then we're flooding them with lots of information that maybe they don't need, or could maybe even be scary to them. So we want them to ask the questions and answer what they're asking, and participate in those conversations. When it comes to any event that's scary that may lead to us missing school, so how we missed school during COVID, that creates an anxiety about going back to school. That now maybe I've missed a week of school, maybe it was for COVID, maybe it was because I had something else going on, maybe even something fun like a family vacation. Going back to school can be difficult because now I have to get back into that routine. Maybe I have work that I have to make up when I come back. Maybe there's some social things that are happening with friends. Maybe I have to check back in with those friends. All of that can bring a normal amount of anxiety, worry, and stress. So whether something is happening nationally like COVID, locally in our communities, or even something scary that's happening at home, we want to make sure that we're really thinking about how much information we're communicating to the kids, make sure we're answering them and listening to what they know and what they need to know, and then helping them as they ease back into the regular routines of their life. So normal signs of stress and anxiety are, a little bit of worry, maybe, some resistance or fear around going back to school or participating in sports, maybe an interrupted night or two of sleep. But if your child is starting to frequently miss nights of sleep, having a hard time falling asleep, waking up frequently at night, if they're frequently starting to change the way that they're eating, if they're starting to avoid things that they genuinely really enjoy in their lives, like going to spend time with friends, or going to a concert, or going to a sports game, they're starting to avoid those things, and maybe even withdrawing from family entirely. Sometimes people think that it's natural for teenagers to want to kind of close the door and be alone, but that's not natural. If they're doing that frequently, something's going on, and we might want to check in with them. And if we're starting to see something like this happening on trend, we're really going to want to talk to our primary care physician about this and make sure that we're just checking in to make sure that that student is experiencing more of the normal type of worry and stress, and less of that really hard anxiety that some kids experience. Also, if a child's experiencing any type of symptoms like a panic attack, or feeling like breathless or racing heartbeat, these would also be times that it would be important to talk to our primary care physician about, just to make sure that we're doing the best that we can to make sure that that child is feeling calm and relaxed throughout their day.